Jaya Jaya Gaurachande Arati Goshoba Jaya Jaya Gaurachande Arati Goshoba Janavitata Vade Jadamanaloba baje, ganta baje, madur 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 baje. Sanka baje, ganta baje, madur 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 baje. Sanka baje, ganta baje, madur 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 baje. Gita Gaura Haribol, 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 Gita Gaura Haribol. Gita Gaura Haribol, 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 Gita Gaura Haribol. Bahukoti Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala. Bahukoti Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala. Bahukoti Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala. Kala Deshe Panamana Kore Jalamana. Kore Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Gaur Nitaya ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtatarshad Shishmat Ace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtatarshad Shishmat Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki. Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki. Vrindavan Dham ki. Maya Dham ki. Jagannath Kshetra Dham ki. Ganga Mai ki. Yamuna Mai ki. Tulsi Maharani ki. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya.
afternoon, everyone. My name is Bhaktivedanta, and I will try to facilitate this Bhagavad class, hoping that Krishna mercifully manifests something for all of our benefits. Thank you very much for joining. Please, if you are not already, please join us on the YouTube channel, where we have a live chat, and we can then have interaction between each other, having questions and answers, and having a more dynamical discussion between each other. So please do use this opportunity. We're going to start with the Jai Radha verse. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vrajajana Rajana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vrajajana Rajana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vrajajana Rajana Jaya Yashodanandana Jayo Vrajajana Rajana Jayo Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunjabihari Jayo Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunjabihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gora Premanande Hari Hari Bol Jai Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so nobody yet on the chat. Oops. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my humble obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. We are reading the third chapter called Karma Yoga. We are on the verse number 7. And it goes like this. You can online and offline and sideline and every line and repeat line by line after me. Yast indriyani manasa. Yast vid indriyani manasa. Okay, maybe we can go word by word first. Yas Tve Indriyani Manasa Yastvi Indriyani Manasa Yastvi Indriyani Manasa Niyam Yarabate Arjuna Niyam Yarabate Arjuna Niyam Yarabate Arjuna Kamendriyai Karma Yogam Karmendriyai Karma Yogam Karmendriyai Karma Yogam Asakta Sa Vishishyate Asakta sa vishishyate Asakta sa vishishyate Yastvi indriyani manasa niyamyarabhyaterjuna karmendriyai karma yogam asakta savishishyate. Do you want to repeat or should I just continue? Do you want to repeat the verse or should we continue? Okay, then let's just continue maybe. Word by word, synonyms. Ya, one who. Tu, but. Indriyani, the senses. Manasa, by the mind. Niyamya, regulating. Arabhate, begins. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Karma indriyai, by the active sense organs. Karma yogam, devotion. Asaktaha, without attachment. Sa, he. Vishishyate, is by far the better. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Amazing personality to give us such a wonderful revelation of these things. Translation. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. Actually, I will read the verse 3.6 because this verse is kind of connected to it. 3.6 goes, one who restrains the senses of activity, one who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on the sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. So we're going to reflect on this. This is about false renunciation versus the regulated grihastha, householder. Purport. Instead of becoming a pseudo-transcendentalist who, for the sake of wanton, I think that wanton is hankering for sex or something. Wanton. Yeah, it's like, I guess. For the sake of wanton living and sense enjoyment, he is far better to remain in one's own business and execute the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into the kingdom of God. The prime svartagati, or goal of self-interest, is to reach Vishnu. The whole institution of Varna and Ashrama is designed to help us reach this goal of life. A householder can also reach the destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. For self-realization, one can live a controlled life, as prescribed in the Shastras, and continue carrying out his business without attachment, and in that way make progress. A sincere person who follows this method is far better situated than a false pretender who adopts show bottle spiritualism to cheat the innocent public. A sincere sweeper in the street is far better than the charlatan meditator whom I guess it's charlatan. Yeah, charlatan. So thank you. Charlatan meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living. Om Agana Timirandasya Gyana Jana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha
Shri Chaitanya Namo Bhishtam Sustapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadanti Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyeva cha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'll read the translation of the verse 3.6 and 3.7 again. One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called pretender. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. Thank you very much for this opportunity to render some service. I hope it will become a devotional at some point. I will try to be serving you as much as my capacity, so please also give your well wishes and blessings so that I can actually understand how much I am just trying not to sabotage Krishna's words through all of this and do it as purely and sincerely. So, all in all, it's an interesting statement that Krishna starts to. I think that he's actually starting to build up kind of a how to this. The chapter is called Karma Yoga. So Krishna is trying to build up to understand how to do our daily activities, our how to do our household life, do our prescribed duties. And kind of to also spiritually progress. Because so many people, especially in the West, when they're speaking about spirituality, they think that they have to do something totally different than they did before. They have to totally renounce everything. They have to leave their family, leave their jobs, go to the mountain, go to the caves, or because when we depict spiritual people, we depict them like that. We depict them like, renounced person, someone enlightened. And yes, at one point of life, that is good. It's called vanaprastha, it's called sannyas. But there is so much things to do as grihastha, as a household. So much valuable things, and spiritual valuable things you can progress. For those who are in this ashram, in this situation, and those who are planning for doing that. Krishna did make us sublime, and he said here, we can, let's say the verse 6 is speaking about, if maybe to clarify, it's speaking about renunciate who is falsely or prematurely or artificially trying to renounce the world. Even he's so attached to it. So this is what he's saying, his active senses. So it means that active senses are legs, hands, voice, anus, and which one more? I don't know. Voice, hands, legs, genitals, yeah. Okay. So these 5 senses are meant to get us to the sense enjoyment. And we have other 5 senses, which are active senses, which are eyes, nose, tongue, ears, and 1 second, actually. Let me just get it right. I have it here. Oh, we have it here. We have two kind of senses. Working on knowledge acquiring senses. So this is knowledge acquiring senses are eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and touch. So what does this do? That means that, let's say, if I see a cake, most of the time I really find lots of cakes here and sweets. Then my eyes start to dwell on it. And the thing is that I can go away from the room and say, okay, I renounced, I don't want to eat this cake. But if I constantly think about this cake, I didn't do anything. Because I cannot do anything else instead of thinking of that cake. So that's why devotees say, like, just come and eat until full satisfaction, so you don't have to think about prasadam, just start doing the service. But then at one point, we have to understand that, okay, I have to stop eating so much, and I have to stop dwelling on the objects, so that I can eat less, have more energy, do more service, and not think about prasadam. So I guess at some point, it's our full satisfaction kind of starts with something else. So in this way, there can be a renunciate who is trying to kind of artificially renounce the world, but he's like constantly thinking about these things, and this is wrong way of doing it. Why? Because the soul is by nature pleasure seeking. The soul wants to enjoy, and you cannot deny it. You cannot deny that you want to enjoy. But again, in the other hand, sense enjoyment is it is the only reason why you suffer. So it's like sense enjoyment, subtle and gross. Through the senses, through the senses of tongue, eyes, touch, smell, and hearing. So, like, what to do? What should the soul do? I am pleasure seeking, and then I have sense enjoyment. Well, this is the problem with karmis. This is the problem with people that are not spiritual seekers, which are not coming to bona fide spiritual practices, because they don't have an alternative. They don't have alternative. The only alternative is to renounce, like a Mayavadi or like yogis renounce, and then try to have from gross, maybe subtle enjoyment, like mystic powers or, contemplation, whatever, but it's still in the material world. So it's again suffering. Yogis suffer as well. Actually, they suffer in advance, so they can enjoy later. Yeah. So, but then with such a miracle that made Srila Prabhupada did. Srila Prabhupada, the person, the only sannyasi who came to the West and had to deal with psychedelic crowd of hippies. Psychedelic crowd of hippies. They were like acid heads. They were like totally over their heads. They were no reasoning. It's like madhouse. Literally, if you come to the like crazy house and you try to kind of organize something there, and it's so profound that I guess never was a sannyasi put in that situation. Never. And it's so interesting how Srila Prabhupada, Krishna sent him hippies to cultivate for the first devotees, and they made a whole movement. This is a result of the hippies accepting spiritual seekers, accepting Krishna consciousness. So with this a wonderful, wonderful person, Srila Prabhupada, with his total love and dedication, inspiring and empowering his disciples, we have something better and something natural for the soul than sense enjoyment, and it is Krishna consciousness. So, real renunciation, real spiritual progress is not just running from the world, just neglecting the senses, just kind of just kind of holding us off from the enjoyment, but changing the enjoyment from the gross sense enjoyment to the spiritual higher enjoyment. Krishna consciousness is not meant to be, we are not here meant to be happy. We are here to learn to serve. And by service, we will automatically be so much happy that you could not even handle it. And that's why devotees, after a while, develop ecstatic symptoms of craziness, because they're so crazily happy, but they're not trying to indulge in it. This is like one thing that I totally out of my mind when I hear like Madhavendra Puri, who actually, feels like he feels this ecstatic love when he's doing service, but he's trying to restrain himself from feeling these ecstatic symptoms. So it's like, it's just amazing. So all in all, the point of this verse that Krishna was mentioning, that premature false renunciation it's not beneficial. It's better to be regulated wherever you are, just be regulated, follow the 4 principles, start chanting, reading regularly, and be a householder. And key words are here is detachment. Action in detachment is better than inaction. So, if we are falsely renouncing the world, this is impossible. This is unthoughtful, totally unthoughtful, and actually it is not beneficial for you nor for anyone else. And you can really easily misguide people, and you are doing bad things for you and society if you are actually doing it falsely and pretending. And also it's adharmic. You get reaction from it. You're suffering now because you're suffering now because you're trying to you're restraining yourself from sense enjoyment, and you're going to suffer later because you're doing wrong thing. So it's tamas. It's totally tamas. Now suffering and later suffering. And so many times I found myself like, I'm renouncing now, so later I will be in a good shape, and then I understand that what I'm doing it's so wrong that I'm actually suffering it later as well. And it's like, that was so stupid. Why did I do this? Jai, let me see if any comments. No comments on YouTube. Please do write some out. You have an online chat on YouTube, a live chat. Please do put your comments and questions. Let's say, Mayavadis or these false renunciates, what they develop from all of this, they develop a hard heart. Hard heart. Because they are neglecting their own nature. And they become hard-hearted, and they actually are hard-hearted towards everyone else, and it's just a hellish way of living. There was like So this is the point. Srila Prabhupada, once devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, how to control the senses? What are the things to do? Yes, control. It is very difficult to control. But if we put it under the control of the Supreme, it will be controlled. You want to see very beautiful thing, but if you engage your seeing power to the most beautiful, Krishna, then you forget other things. This is sense control. You are going to restore restaurant to enjoy your tongue, but if you take Krishna Prasadam, then you'll forget going to restaurant. This is sense control. So what is kind of here? Let's kind of divide it and try to understand this. When senses dwell on the sense objects, we are in trouble. So when the senses are starting to contemplate different objects in the world, this is leading us straight through sense enjoyment and suffering later on. This is like, even in devotional life, even the devotees, even to us, it happens constantly. But if the senses are used to satisfy Krishna, then they are rightly engaged and they get purified. So what is the point? Okay, why? Because Krishna is egoistic maniac and it's it's me or nothing. No, but because the sole constitutional position, we have to understand that our constitutional position is to serve and see and dwell on Krishna. This is where the fish is in the water, and everything is for us. Everything is perfectly fine and just natural. It's natural. It's when everything is in line. We are fully happy and we are fully engaged, and this is blissful happiness, eternity. And then we fall to a material plane where there is no Krishna. And then there are other things we are trying to enjoy, thinking that, okay, maybe if I just, get enough sense enjoyment, I will be managed to get this bliss. It doesn't happen. So it's actually renouncing the misconception that we are going to enjoy, having 6 cups of milk before sleep, and actually engage our mind, our senses to listen and hear about Krishna. But you can say Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai. Mahabharat ki jai. You could say, but I don't have any attraction to Krishna. It's why you want to say, I want to have dinner. And now you're telling me I should not have a good dinner. I should actually go and listen to Kirtan and read Srimad Bhagavatam or do something. But I don't have any taste for Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't have any taste. I have taste for opulent dinner. Well, that's why you need association. That's why you need to associate with people who have regulation, are sense-controlled, and have taste for these things. And when you see how much they have taste for this Srimad Bhagavatam, or for reading scriptures, or for Krishna, and when you compare this taste for your sense enjoyment for dinner, you'll be like, well, this dinner doesn't sounds very attractive anymore. Actually, this what you're saying, actually, wow, it's much, sounds so profound. We had just now a brahmachari meeting, and there was a devotee, senior devotee here, Ananta Gopal Prabhu. He was narrating the story of Narottam Das Thakur. And the way how he was narrating it, you just get so much taste for reading these books, to learning about these people. It's like, wow, this is so tasty just from listening from your mouth. It's so tasty. But it's just amazing how we can pick up these things. And we have to listen. That's why we have to attentively listen to self-realized persons, to get this taste from them, to get this from their voice, to take this taste and have it in our tongue. And then that we be like, that then at one point we will be like, maybe I should read, maybe I should do this. Start nourishing spiritual life and getting purified. So it's like Srila Prabhupada said, we can be Krishna conscious, fully Krishna conscious, Paramahamsas in 1 second. The reason why we are not, because we are still convinced that there is something outside Krishna consciousness, outside being conscious of God in sense gratification. There is still something in sense gratification. So in this way, I have maybe a few more minutes. Wherever we are now, in a household life, having a job, building a career, getting married, building a family, there are many things we can do to spiritually progress and have a big impact and contribution to society. We have from 4 ashrams ashrams. 3 ashrams of 4 are renunciants. Brahmachari do not accumulate wealth. Vanaprasthas as well. Sannyasis not. So grihastas, or the householders, are actually the social background of the society. And renunciates or sannyasis and vanaprasthas, they are spiritual inspiration. So why when we have like four stages of kind of a material enjoyment that is spoken in the scriptures. It is dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Religious. We are first religious. We are doing religious, dharmic activities, so we are building character, we are pious, we know what should do, what should not be done. So we have characteristics and principles, and we are acting in this way. Because we are moral and we are principled, then things go smoothly and economic development happens. Development economical, which gets results, gives opulence. In today's world, everybody's trying to get economic development. Everything is about GDP. How much money per capital, per this, per that, what's the salaries, how much, with your salary in your country can you buy, and for my salary in my country, how much I can buy. So everything is, economic development, but they do not understand that you cannot have economic development if you don't have a stage before, which is building character, having principles. You cannot have a regulated traffic if you don't have lights, traffic lights, traffic signs and traffic rules. If you try to have a Wild West type of traffic, it will maybe function for 5, 10 years, 15, but then people will just do whatever they want. And this is what is happening in economic development. Why is economy crashing constantly? Because there is no principles, there is no character. There is nothing that is, no principles that are leading this economy. Only one that is, time is money. And that you have to get as much money as possible. You don't care, it doesn't matter how much you pollute, how much you destroy, how much you cheat. That's why you have religion, religious principles, learning of Dharma. Economic development, you have opulence and then you enjoy it. It's kama, enjoyment. And then later you're renouncing all of it because you don't want to be attached to it. Because the soul here is like just temporary to, okay, let's try this out, okay, it was fun, all in games, now let's go out. Let's go back. Let's go where actually we belong. Where actually we can enjoy, really enjoyment there is. So, in this sense, we can say like, okay, if the householder are social order that kind of sustains the other 3 orders of the students, family gives the students money to kind of study, parents give the money to elderly if they need, parents give also if some preachers education, they also give money to it. So you can say this is the most important one. Well, the others are also important because they are helping the household life not to go to frenzy, not to lose their dharma, not to lose their religious principles, and not to lose their vision of the goal that afterwards you have to renounce it. And we have to let this go and aim for the higher things in life. Otherwise, and this have to be generation after generation. Otherwise, things is going to be bad. You will have politicians that are like dying, like they have like 100 years and they're still trying to do some political, they are not giving a space for new, young, fresh people, people attached to their positions, to their wealth, and they're suffering a lot. It's like so many things is wrong in this society. So today so if you feel that you're missing something in life, I'm sure that you are aiming for economic development and enjoyment, then add these two aspects. Add building character, religion and spirituality, and renunciation, detachment. This is what he said. It's not only working, but detachment from the results. Because if you are attached to results, if you're attached to how much you are going to gain, you are really, really fond of cheating. You will do anything. If you had to earn 100,000 pounds and you find out that maybe you will not earn 100,000 pounds, but if you cheat somewhat, then you will probably be doing that. Not seeing what kind of a devastating result it will have in your life, in your character, and in your family, and everyone close to you, and in future generations, and overall in the country. So that's why without detachment, because Krishna gives us results. And Krishna empowers us to act and gives us ideas how to do things. So he gave, and he will always give us enough, what we need. And if we actually see with these eyes, we will always be grateful, and we always be happy whatever we have. Otherwise, we will always be greedy, ungrateful, and unhappy constantly. So all in all, I'm going to recap. We were speaking about what's the problem of false renunciation from sense enjoyment and trying to have this pseudo-spiritualism that kind of, it looks like they are doing something, it looks like from externally they are actually spiritually advancing, but it has not a single thing about spirituality. And it is actually much more spiritual to stay in a household life, have your life, and then actually practice spirituality for regulative principles and be detached from the results. You'll be far, far more better. And actually it will be much easier for you as well. It's much easier life and pleasurable. So you don't have to renounce, go to the, Himalayas or something. And so yeah, it's amazing. This Krishna consciousness is just absolutely amazing. You have, you cannot even believe that such thing exists. Such a wonderful, simple process. For the most top, highest spiritual advancement. It's like boom, where to sign, where to get this thing. So it's just incredible. And we were speaking about why is it a problem to have sense enjoyment. Why is it not natural for the soul? And what is natural for the soul? Actually be connected to the God, to the Lord, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. That's why we say Hare Krishna, because Krishna is the most intimate name. And so we are really privately calling him up. And then we are speaking about householder as a social, that gives this social stability in the society, and in which way they should cooperate with other varnas, ashrams, to kind of get the best out of their practice, material and spiritual. Yes, and why is it important to do a detachment? So this is it. Let me see if any comments on the YouTube. Oh, look at this. We have two guesses, Sujata. What is it predominantly men that renounce and not women who leave the household later in life? Haribo. So why is predominantly men that renounce and not women who leave the household later in life? Okay, that's a great question. Thank you very much. So if I understood correctly, why is it such a big emphasis of men need to renounce, and what about women? Women, actually, so many cases we found that they are even so much spiritually advanced than the men. Actually, the only link that man has with spirituality is through the woman, and actually, so many times the woman, the woman is the one who is much more fond of Krishna consciousness. And actually, I think that I don't know that I heard or read stories when the woman gets into Krishna consciousness, that is much higher chance that the whole family is going to be Krishna conscious. Woman has a really nice Shakti to actually influence the man, and then man follows, and then the children follow as well. So great question. So, as few things reading from the Shastra that comes to my mind, I can maybe share. It doesn't have to be like ultimate answer to it. Maybe I can just share a few things that I was reading. So, in generally, not looking at exceptions of really highly spiritually advanced women, which are actually renounced their whole life. Looking generally and the female and male energies. Female energy is more about creativity, more about home, love, emotions, and more of this feeling that we feel loved in the world. And man is more about strictness and more about productivity, more about gaining and bringing resources. There are totally two different mentalities, and there are two different paths how they get spiritual advancement, which bases on the initial constitution of the mind. So generally, in Vedic system, which is different, kind of differently is evolving now in these circumstances. Initially, women were always protected, and I really appreciate that. The women were always protected, because what is happening now when the women are not protected? The children, because everything, if the woman is not safe, it doesn't feel safe, secured, and loved, children feel the same emotions. Everything what the mother feels, child picks it up immediately. If a mother has a trauma, the child will have the same trauma, and he will grow with that trauma. So if the woman is not protected, if not nourished, if the woman doesn't, if woman has to be afraid about will they have enough resources, will they have roof of their heads, will she feel fear that something will not happen to her, economically, physically. It will disturb the emotions, and emotions will afflict the child, and child will not grow properly. And then we will have emotionally disturbed people. And we have now, the whole country, the whole world is full of emotionally disturbed people. So women were always protected. They were first protected by the father, then by the husband, and then by the senior, the most elderly son. And it was a responsibility to always take care of them. And the mother was also taking care of them as well. And they say there is no, house becomes a home when the woman energy comes and makes it a home. So in the sense, because generally this female energy is more fond to interact with material energy. It's more fun to have, to build up the home. The men's room are, like half empty. And colors, what is color? Like, color matching, or, having nice, why do we have candles? What do you need candles? So this is it. Like, man energy is like, let's be constructive and productive. And woman energy is, let's be beautiful, nice, inspirational. and loving. So in this sense, the system that was before, that whatever husband acquired from these penances, from this being renounced, woman got half of it. So she didn't have to do it. She didn't have to do all of these really hard penances, because the male body is like a tractor, and it is more meant to do these penances. Where the woman is more softer, it's like a Ferrari. It has to be flashy, it has to be fast, and sometimes it can crash really rapidly. No, I'm just joking. So, in this sense, renunciation was more meant for the constitution of the body you got. But there are also many examples of women in Vedic history that were really big renunciates as well. And so the woman, the most of the women which were not ready to renounce and go to the forest and renounce, they were staying in a more comfortable position. So in this sense, there's probably even more answers to that. I don't know if I managed to answer somewhat. Leave the household life in life. So that's why actually the man, that's why all this kind of I guess the female energy, when you say, why am I saying female energy and male energy? Because today we have men with lots of female energy. We have lots of women with male energy. And it's actually depending on when you're a child, so what in the Vedic system they did, when you are a child, when you were brought up as a child, immediately they were trying to give you the more and more impression of your gender now. So they were giving you, the girls were always kind of playing these girly things. Why? Because, okay, last life you were maybe a man. Now you're a woman. To fully engage in your occupational duty and be fully calm and peaceful and happy in this position, and that you feel empowered and that you feel like Shakti and you feel like, to use your full body and capacities of this life, train yourself to use this and build up this energy in you. Be womanly, and there are many men that are like, wow, and a woman is like womanly, it's like wow. And when man is manly, it's wow. So, and then they are training men to be men from young age, to build up the man energy in them, and women to build up woman energy. But today, you kind of have a more like a freestyle, and then, you have like thousands of combinations that people even don't even feel that they are the gender they are, and then you shouldn't ask anyone which gender you are. It's like a taboo. So in that sense, I don't know. Jai, thank you. I guess in the past, so Sujata say, I guess in the past, with the way social was set up and very particular, those safety structure were probably not there if a woman was out in social alone. Yeah, that's a good point. In a household life, Kishore, working without attachment is a contradiction. Working and not chasing fruits for friends and colleagues is seen to be an ambitious person. How do households escape this? For the answer of this question, you will have to visit tomorrow. Maybe just one comment on this. This is the perfect. We should distinguish endeavor, we put, and attachment to results. Krishna is also seeing how much we are endeavoring. And we shouldn't endeavor too much. Listen to this. We shouldn't endeavor too much. nor we should not endeavor whatsoever. I have to make a video. And usually, I think that most of the people that are doing some creative things, they can find themselves in this. First time, you kind of sit down and you have to build it from beginning. You just intuitively start building it. And you do your effort. And you intuitively you start building it. And after 1 hour, you make like, wow, this is amazing work I did. And in 1 hour, you did like 80% of job. And it was really nice. You know, you were amazed, like, wow, how did I make this? This is your endeavor and Krishna's empowerment. But what did we do after that? Okay, let me just now try to get this more, let me try to make it more perfect. And then next 3 hours, you're totally over-endeavoring to make it much better. And in the end, you're like, you know what? This first 1 hour, it's much better. It was much better this first hour than these 3 hours that I was spending uselessly now to try to develop it. And this is what I see actually with some senior devotees like Sutapa. Exactly, it happens like that. They endeavor and they pray for empowerment. And then you're not over-endeavoring. And you're not attached to results. And you make an amazing video in 1 hour and you're like, wow, it's amazing.